This is Canadian MGTOW. Having fun, and not giving a shit. Welcome to Red Pill Stories. It's a difficult pill to swallow, understanding that everything you were taught, everything you were led to believe in, is a lie. But once you learn it, internalize it, and start living your new life, it gets better. Learn from these stories. Today's video is called, Made in Taiwan. It is also the first viewer submission to Red Pill Stories. The following story is unedited. I currently identify as an AWM as I discovered MGTOW after my marriage to a foreign woman. Your video about the stepdad who figured out he was an ATM inspired me to write this. 2 years ago I married a woman from overseas, and as most men do, I eventually figured out how much of a mistake that was. Initially we had a plan to get her out of debt and start building up savings together. I had already acquired $20,000 in silver and gold over the course of a year, working a part-time job, and doing odd jobs on contract. I began by paying off her high-interest debt in one lump sum of $6,000 so that all was left was her student loan. All was going well. She became a permanent resident and got a full-time job. Although low in pay, it was steady and we were both bringing in enough money to get by and bank $1,000 a month. We had originally planned a wedding in both Canada and Taiwan. The wedding in Canada was simple, cheap, and still everyone had a good time. It ended up costing us less than our extra earnings per month. However, she began to plan the wedding in her home country, and this is where things began to fall apart. Before she came here and when I paid off her father's debt, I was seen as a great man, a great provider, and that I would always be able to take care of her. When she began to plan this next wedding, however, our monthly excess of $1,000 quickly turned into nothing, and from nothing we started going into the red. Every month we would send back money to her country and put aside the rest to pay for the wedding. A total cost of $10,000 over the course of 9 months. 9 months of having zero spending money aside from selling crap on eBay. I had to pass up corrective orthotics for my shoes to correct my posture just to pay for this absolute waste of money she calls a wedding. She complained constantly about not being able to go out anywhere due to a lack of money. She blamed me for not making enough yet through odd jobs. There were some months where I was making 50% more than her. This amount was soon eaten up as she piled on more and more surprise expenses. A month ago we had an argument before meeting my family for dinner. She proceeded to give me crap about not making enough money, and not having a stable job. I was furious, and told her that after this poorly planned wedding, I am taking control of the finances. Her face sunk.
You don't think I manage the money well?
I took a moment, looked at her and thought to myself, does my wife have a drug problem I am unaware of? I responded with a controlled and condescending no. She then replied that she had saved money over the past year. I asked her which investment she put it in and how much she had saved. Her response was,
I saved for the wedding.
I realized at this point I was dealing with someone who had a severe case of butt-it's-my-day-itis and deeper problems which were now only becoming apparent to me. Still, the incredible self-centeredness was dizzying. More issues arose when she told me that she was getting laid off from her job in 2 weeks. She added, after I regained my mental footing.
And what about the honeymoon?
I told her that if she wants a honeymoon, she can consider going back to her home country for a month, that honeymoon, otherwise she can turn the fucking thermostat up to 30 while doing dishes and it will feel like she is in Cuba. That response began a 2-week-long period of silence and awkwardness. My mother offered to mediate between the two of us as to how we can tackle the problem. After trying to calm my wife down as she was crying over another one of our disagreements, we met at my mother's house and began to talk about the wedding. The result was a slap in the face. Nothing had been reduced on her end and I am now expected to shell out an extra $250 every paycheck to pay for discretionary spending when we go back to her home country. I left the table, saying I have to go to work. When I got home and told my wife how I was dissatisfied with the meeting, she asked me,
"Can you just change your attitude about it?"
I nearly lost my shit. Instead I just choked out a smile and said I guess I have to. I was seriously considering a vasectomy at this point. I had taken the red pill. The next week I applied to the armed forces. I am currently being processed to join the Canadian Navy. My wife asked me,
"Are you joining because of me?"
I replied with no, I just had a change in attitude about it. I never thought in my life I would look forward to going all the way across the country for basic training. Your work is some of the funniest I've seen and helps my friend who is now baby jailed by his cow of a formerly single mother girlfriend find brief moments of joy and laughter. We both thank you. Keep up the good work.